through the vocabulary part and the visual imageries of the text. Okay, so the sorry, but we this is the third session on the poem A Roadside Stand. In this poem, A Roadside Stand, Frost represents the lives of the deprived poor people with pitiless clarity and with the deepest human sympathy. So, text wise, you will find the visual images. The little old house was out with a little new shed in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. Sped means moved quickly. A roadside stand that too pathetically played. Pathetically means sadly. Played, we have already discussed, it is the past tense of plead, right? Whom that means to request in a very serious manner. What is a figure of speech? It is personification, since the roadside stand has been given the attributes of a person. Also, pathetically played is an example of alliteration. Okay. It would not be fair to say for a dole of bread. Here, dole means slice, and it is a symbol of charity. Okay. But for some of the money, the cash whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. So flower here means it is a metaphor. It means prosperity, flower of city, lavish lifestyle, and richness of the city dwellers. Withering faint, drying and becoming lifeless, from going down and losing its glamour. Okay, prosperity of the city will decline without money. That is why they want to feel some money in hand. The polished traffic passed with a mind ahead. Here, polished traffic means the sophisticated, refined people who are driving their shiny, polished, lavish vehicles. This is an example of transferred epithet, which means an adjective is usually used to describe one thing, and that adjective should have been placed somewhere else, but instead of its actual place, it has been transferred. Hence, it is called transferred epithet, and epithet means adjective. Or if ever aside for a moment, then out of sorts. Out of sorts means irritated, annoyed. So if even if the people stop their cars even for a moment, at having the landscape marred with the artless paint. Marred means destructed, destroyed, spoiled, artless, clumsy, awkward, ugly, etc. Of signs that turned wrong, N turned wrong and S turned wrong. You can see it in the picture. Offered for sale, wild berries in wooden quarts or crook-necked golden squash with silver warts. Okay, wooden quarts, and these are the warts. The skin lesions. Okay, quartz. What? Okay. Our beauty rests in a beautiful mountain scene. You have the money, but if you want to be mean, that means miser, right? Not generous, do not want to share. And the poet is very cross at it, that is very angry at it. The hurt to the scenery wouldn't be my complaint so much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. What does this mean? The poet is worried about those sorrows of these people which have remained unsaid. We have discussed this. Please refer to my previous videos as well for a better understanding. Here, far from the city, we make our roadside stand and ask for city money to feel in hand to try if it will not make our being expand and give us the life of the moving pictures promise that the party in power is said to be keeping from us. They want to make themselves bigger, they want to expand, and the movies the poor people have watched are full of promises for them. What kind of promises? How the heroes journeyed from poverty to prosperity, and the moving pictures, the films they show very luxurious advanced lifestyle, right? Keeping from us means prevented, indifferent to the rural people and their demands, prevented. It is in the news that this pathetic kin are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in to live in villages next to the theatre and the store where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. So they are, as we have discussed, they are convinced to relocate themselves from the rustic villages to the villages which are adjacent to the cities. or the theaters or store. Greedy good doers, hungry, okay, good doers. So this is an oxymoron. Beneficent beasts of prey, generous beasts of prey. Animals that hunt on each hunt other animals. So this is these mean exploiters. Okay. Swarm means crowd, enforcing, putting into force, or imposing. So they are imposing their benefits as if they are generous, they are very benevolent, they think about the welfare of the villagers, and they are imposing the calculated benefits, and these benefits are calculated so that they do not have to think about themselves, they lose their rationality. Okay. Alliteration and oxymoron. Second last stanza. Childish longing, the poor people's uncertain and futile expectation from for the city money. Okay, futile means vain. So the people are standing with their windows open, they pray so that the cars stop. And this is very important. Selfish cars. Often questions are asked on this. Cars are referred to as selfish as the owners of the car do not understand the suffering and they do not want to contribute in enhancing their financial status. Selfish car is an example of a transport epithet. And the sadness, we discussed this as well. This is an example of personification. Please note down the poetic devices in your copy so that you have a clear understanding. So there are three reasons why the people stop: either to reverse the car, or to ask the direction, or to ask for fuel. Okay, and these are very insensitive of them to ask these things. And we have seen this, how the poet is saying that the people say, the rural people seem to complain that the required amount of effort is not given to us so that we can uplift ourselves. Okay. And lastly, the poet at first thinks about mass killing, okay, so that they can get rid of their pain at one stroke. But next day, when he comes back to his normal sensible self, to his sanity, he realizes that I was thinking very irrationally, very emotionally. That can never be a way to get rid of their pain, to help them get rid of their pain. Hence, he asks the question to the readers how we can contribute into eliminating the pain of the readers. Okay. Now, coming to the analytical part of the poem. So, see, this is the economic and social divide. How is this economic disparity shown by Robert Frost? The roadside stand people are standing there, so they are stagnant. But the people of the city, they are speeding, focused on the destination. Mind ahead, selfish. Okay, they are these people. They have a very uh, aesthetically unappealing. They are very unappealing in their looks. Either it is their own clothes or the stand that they have, which is almost very ugly, or the vegetables that they are selling. Whereas the city people have very polished things, lavish vehicles, everything is very shiny and glamorous. Okay. What is the attitude difference in attitude between these two divide? These people have the innocent desire of selling their things. Okay, they are hoping for a connection with the city people. Okay, but the city people's attitude is always irritated, they are miser, mean, they are selfish, they are always whining about the scenery that is destroyed. What is the objective? That is, what is the aim or goal? These people, the rural people, they want to feel some money so that they can prosper themselves, at least develop themselves. They can um, economically develop themselves. whereas the city people, they have already developed themselves, and now they are maintaining the prosperity of their city and ignoring the roadside plea. Okay. How is the structure? This shows the desperate attempt to interfere with the passing wealth. The roadside stand is a complete contrast to the traffic that is just in front of the stand. Okay. The uh, organic things means humble farm produce, as opposed to the hybrid mall vegetables and fruits available. Okay. Then the signs, that is S turned wrong and N turned wrong, this shows a lack of sophistication and polish. They are not very concerned with the superficial superficial, look, superficial appearance. Okay, they are not concerned with this, but these people are always concerned with this. And how is the setting? The natural landscape that the city dwellers believe is destroyed by the stand. We have seen this. These are the contrast. Frost clarifies that they are not begging for charity or food. They want participation in the macroeconomic flow. They want some of the money to make our being expand. Okay. Frost is saying that these people are not asking for donation. They want to they want to participate in the flow of cash in the in a major way. Okay, and this is the same flow of cash that helps a city maintain its prosperity. Why is polished traffic or transferred epithet? This is very important for your boards, because at times in the extract based question, you are not only asked to identify the poetic device, you are also asked to identify, to explain the poetic device. Okay, so here what you will write: the traffic, that is cars, cannot literally be polished, right, in manners. The adjective transfers from the sophisticated wealthy drivers to their machines, hence, transferred epithet. Similarly, selfish cars. This is also an example of personification. Cars cannot be selfish, the people are. It is given the attribute. Also, cars cannot have moral failings. The selfishness of the drivers ignoring the poor is transferred to the metal shells that they hide inside. What is the impact? That by transferring the human traits to the cars, Frost dehumanizes the city dwellers, rendering them as cold, mechanized, and unfeeling as the vehicles they drive. Okay? Oxymoron. This is how the exploitation is continued. They buy the land, they relocate them to the villages next to the theaters. They promise they won't have to think about themselves. Greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey. They are enforcing the benefits, which are calculated to soothe them out of their wits, mercifully gathered in. These politicians wear the mask of philanthropy to systematically exploit the poor people, rural poor. Okay. How are they exploiting? How are they exploiting the poor people? First, they make false promises that the through the movies and TV shows. Then they convince them to relocate and to sell their land, okay, and move into villages. Then they enforce the convenience placed next to the theater and the store to artificially soothe them. Apparently, it is like you don't have to think yourself, but they are taught how to sleep all day, rendering them lazy, reliant, and incapable of fighting for their share. So they cannot fight for themselves now, right? Because they are dependent on the rich people buying their goods, and hence the ultimate exploitation by destroying their sleeping night, so by destroying their sleeping at night the ancient way, that is the natural cycle of hard work and rest. The beasts of prey easily swarm over their lives and mint money of their compliance. Since they have agreed, the rich people, they uh, they take advantage of the situation. Sadness that lurks, this is personification. The people are waiting with their windows open. They are praying for the people to, for the rich cars to stop. This is a naive, very innocent, futile hope, because the farmers possess a trusting sorrow. What is the sorrow? They still foolishly believe that the rich will stop and help them achieve the moving pictures promise, that is the good respectful lifestyle. The cars do stop. This is the hopeful prayer of the farmers, right? That the I wish I can. I wish I hear the sound of the brakes, the sound of the stopping cars, right? But what do they? Why do they stop? They stop to reverse their car. They stop to ask direction. They stop to ask whether they have the fuel or not. Not a single car stops to inquire what the farmer's prices are. They stop only, sorry, the stops only reinforce their selfish, consumptive nature, exploitative nature of the city dwellers. Frost notes that the major profits, country scale of gains, are mathematically and spiritually insufficient. They provide no real upward mobility. So the party in power never provides any opportunity, or never do any effort so that the poor people can economically climb the ladder, can climb the economic ladder. They do not do anything. This is the country money, and this is the required amount. And this is the collective rural voice. This is the complaint of the country, that the system is rigged. Without the flow of city cash, their attempts to build a business will never yield the requisite lift of spirit needed to escape poverty. Frost's controversial empathy. Now, at first, we have seen this, the hint of mass killing. Observing the inescapable cycle of physical poverty, political deceit, and agonizing psychological hope, Frost is overcome with misery. He momentarily concludes that sudden death at one stroke would be more merciful than the endless pathetic pleading of better life that will never come. But what is the final twist? Next day, when he comes back to his sanity, he realizes that that was an irrational and emotional response. He turns to the reader, asking them to gently put him out of his pain, as the burden of his empathy has become unbearable to witness. So, in other words, he is appealing to the readers to do something for their development, for the development of the poor, underprivileged, deprived people. He is appealing to the readers not to behave like the insensitive rich people. Okay, these are the important poetic devices. Please write this down in your copy and read this poem properly. I hope I hope you have understood the poem. And if there is any doubt or any confusion, you may please ask me in the class. Thank you, students.